Welcome to the Evening Gamer. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Guy. Welcome, everybody. How are we all doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It's 9 p.m. on a Wednesday night.
Mate, I'm doing fine. It's my birthday week coming up. Last weekend was great. You just got some great news today. Your misso just made us some dinner. Life is good.
Life is good, yeah.
Life is great.
Some life admin got in the way. We usually record a lot earlier than this, but here we are, 9 p.m.
9 p.m. and we're both about to fall asleep, but we're killing it.
I'm not going to fall asleep, man. I'm actually really excited because I don't think I've said it yet. This is our 10th episode, and it's a bit of a milestone for us. We have a few shout-outs. We have a bit of a structure change to the podcast and how we're going to move forward and a few other really exciting things. So
We do, yeah. Well, I mean, geez, we've done a bit of prep work tonight. That's probably why we're recording a little bit later than usual, because we've put a lot into this episode. So, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, so before we get into anything, I actually want to give a shout out to anyone that's been listening, anyone that's written in, anyone that's left us a rating or a review. We appreciate you so much. We really want this to be a very involved community and podcast. We do this for you. So thank you so much. And just very quickly, we've had a pretty good global reach so far, and I want to give that a quick shout out. These are the countries that have tuned into our podcast, which has taken me by surprise, and I'm so stoked. Listen to this. So hello to anyone from Sweden, Poland, the Philippines, Norway, Netherlands, Mexico, Russia, Cambodia, Malaysia, Laos, Thailand, the UK, the States, Canada, and our very own Australia.
Damn.
Thank you so much to everyone from wherever you are. Keep gaming, keep leveling up. Don't be an NPC. We're so happy to have you.
Yeah, I think it's great. If you're picking up what we're putting down, keep with us on the journey. It's been 10 episodes, and I've really enjoyed the 10 episodes. The games we've gone through and reviewed, and it's 10. Episode 10 is like it's a milestone. And I think this journey we've been on, it's changed the way I've looked at gaming. I've certainly reinvigorated my view of it a little bit more, and kind of. We wouldn't have done this pod without you. I think you deserve a bit more of a formulaic shout out, because you did the tech. You got it all set up. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it, mate. I
appreciate you too, and it's so good that we have this going. Yeah, I'm stoked, and yeah, episode 10 when we started felt like just years away, but here we are. So happy. On that note, please keep following. We have an Instagram. It's the Evening Gamer Podcast. We have some pretty good content on there. We're constantly working on it. We're looking at getting video up in the next month. So yeah, everything's going well. Please keep following. Please keep leaving feedback, writing in everything you're doing. We love you.
Yeah. On
top of that, we're actually going to celebrate our 10th episode by doing a bit of a giveaway. So, we are still starting out. This is kind of going to come from our own disposable. But we want to give away $100 to anyone's respective platform. We'll get into that at the end of the episode on how to enter and how to qualify for essentially a ticket in that raffle. So stay tuned till the end of the episode, but we'll cover that off.
It's going to be the easiest $100 you ever fucking get.
Yeah, definitely will be. But in terms of a format, so we're changing the structure of this podcast very slightly. We kind of sat back after episode 9 and we thought there's got to be a better way that we can make this a little bit more conversational, a little bit deeper into the games that we're reviewing, etc., etc. And we've decided to do one game per episode. Often we'll do games that we've both played, which means we can heavily weigh in on the rating and the reviews that we give it the time and love that it needs, because these developers and these companies spend a lot of time on the game, and we want to do it justice. So that's kind of a decision that we've made moving forward. Everything from here on in will be one game per episode. But of course, very involved space that we have in community. If you would disagree with anything or you love it, we'd love to hear from you moving forward as well.
Yeah, when doing one game a week, that way sort of, it gives us a little bit more time. And I hope, even if it's a game that you may not probably play, I hope that we're entertaining enough to make you want to still listen to the pod.
Yeah, definitely. And a little bit more housekeeping. So today we're doing what I think it's a really fun game, and it's something that we played a lot very recently around Christmas. We're doing Deep Rock Galactic today.
DRG, baby.
As I said, something that we've played, and we're going to have a bit of a laugh around it. We're also going to actually go back through today at the end of the podcast and do kind of reviews on a count back. Anyone that's been listening up until this point, we changed our review system back on episode 6 and 7, and we made it a lot more, I suppose, specific and targeted as to the pillars of a game and what makes a great game solid and successful. So we've done a little bit of count back. It's all been done already. We're going to chat to the games that we reviewed before episode 6 and 7 and give kind of like plug them through that little system we've got going and give them a more honest rating.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a flashback episode. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, it's like the trailer essentially.
Yeah,
like
a little bit.
Yeah,
A
like
little bit,
no, it's the recap. You know when you're watching a TV
yeah,
show,
exactly.
and you're like, actually,
That's it.
I haven't fucking watched this in a while. Can we watch the recap? I'm gonna need to do that with Shogun this week.
Man, I keep wanting to. I've got to sit down and do it.
Very good, very good. But yeah, so reviews on account back. We also have questions from a hat, which is one of our oldest standing traditions. That's not going anywhere. So yeah, jam-packed episode.
Let's hit it. Let's
go straight into correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I have 2.
I have 0, and one of them I'm looking forward to hearing you correct yourself on.
Well, I need to it's kind of like correcting myself on a corrections kind of thing. But no, the first one was when I spoke about No Man's Sky, and we spoke about 3 different game modes, be it, survival, co-op, or online. The third one, which I forgot, was permadeath. Which is something that a lot of these procedurally generated games have. It's really where you kind of get one life, and if you die, you genuinely lose everything. Like you can save as you go, but when you die, you lose that save.
It's a hell of a game mode, and I feel like it's for the ultra gamer. Like Diablo 5 or whatever they're up to. I played that one last year, and that one had permadeath kind of modes in it, and I could not do it to myself. It's not the way I game.
You genuinely like pain if you're into permadeath, especially on No Man's Sky. Getting up and running on that game without dying in the initial stages is almost impossible. It's kind of like, what's the opposite of like a pacifist? Is it a machinist? Is that how you say that?
No, it's
someone
not, a masochist.
Masochist, yes, that's the right one. Someone that like just loves
pain. Well, yeah, I mean, we talk about rage quitting. That's how, if you're an adult, that's how you have a rage quit situation.
If you play permadeath, you are a psycho, and I want to hear from you and how you deal with that stress day in, day out.
So it fundamentally goes against what the evening gamer is about, for me, permadeath. Because if you've only got limited hours in the day and you're wiped back to the beginning of a game, I couldn't do it to myself.
It's kind of like, imagine starting painting like a canvas and being like, I've got this great idea for a canvas, but starting that knowing at any time that like a toddler could just run in the room and just take a shit on it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like what permadeath is. I've never been a huge fan, but I can see the appeal. The other correction I had was that little kerfuffle we had at the beginning of the last episode where you were actually correcting the Allah thing that you were saying.
Allah. When you say it in isolation, it sounds really weird.
I misheard you, and you did say that that you said it correctly, and I thought you said stand correctly. We had a good laugh over it, but yes, you're right. That was my bad.
I feel like if I stand corrected when we're correcting how to say I stand corrected. It's folding in on itself.
I know. I kind of just wrapped that up as quickly as I could because it was confusing the fuck out of me explaining it, to be fair. Well, yeah, if there's nothing from you in terms of a correction standpoint, mate, we can go straight into
Deep Rock Galactic. Let's hit it. Yeah, let's hit it.
I'm going to let you take the lead on this, which is, I suppose, how we're going to do this moving forward is, yes, we're going to cover games we've both played, but someone will typically take the lead on explaining the game and doing that segment of it, and I'll kind of take like an interview standpoint, like ask you questions about it, chime in where I can, because I really enjoy this, but I'm keen to kind of hand the mic over to you and talk about how we found it and why and what our experiences were.
Yeah, I like it. It's like having an expert commentator. That's how we'll run it.
Oh, thank you, mate. I might put that on my fucking resume.
I'll put it on mine.
My descriptive talents.
Expert gaming commentator. You put that on a resume, you might get laughed out of the room.
Just like a hiring manager's like, what the fuck is this?
Can you review my pod while I'm here?
Extracurricular is this?
Hey, we've all got our own things. Okay, here we go. So, Deep Rock Galactic. Now, I think when we start reviewing games, I reckon we start putting the blurb or like the selling line into it. And the selling line or sort of the blurb on this game is danger, darkness, and dwarves.
Which I can say is really all that happens in this game.
Yeah, that really ticks a lot of the boxes. Okay, so Deep Rock Galactic, how do we come across it? I think it was on the Reddit community and sort of saw that this was a game that was recommended and people talked about. And it looked interesting and curious, and we are always on the lookout for games that we can play together. And so this one is a cooperative first-person game.
But more importantly as well is that we were between games, weren't we? Like, I think every gamer has that moment where they're waiting for a big title to drop and they're like, what can fill the space between now and then?
Yeah, I mean, it was
a
perfect stocking filler for what was a game that we started playing it during Christmas, and was Christmas themed. So it first was released in 2018 on early access, then fully released in 2020. So we're going back a little while, but they've continued to work on this Danish studio called Ghost Ship Games. And they've improved on it, updated it, added more to it over the time. So it's in Unreal Engine 4. And the art style on it, I'd kind of put it in an art style. It's like Team Fortress kind of style, where it's a bit kind of comic booky. It's not sort of super hyper realistic. So you load into the game and you're on a mothership, and you and whoever you're playing with load into the same sort of collective area, and you build a dwarf, and you pick from one of 4 classes. So you've got the scout, engineer, gunner, and driller. Now, we didn't do much research coming into this game of going, what's the right skills, what's the right loadout if you're running it cooperatively.
No, we raw dogged it.
We raw dogged it. So I picked the gunner and you picked the driller. And we start playing, we load into our first sort of game, and the way you load is you run into a dropship, and this thing shoots off into the core of a planet. And the whole sort of guise of this game is you are dwarves who are mining. Think sort of the crew of the dwarves in The Hobbit, where you're just in these mining shafts, and you have to fight against the wildlife, you have to find minerals, you're fighting against a rival mining company. And it's got a lot of different, not quite game modes, but mission types, where you'll have to focus on one specific thing. As the level unfolds, it is procedurally generated. So it's got that good, RNG, randomly generated.
Yeah, RNG,
which makes it really interesting. So it's never the same sort of map that you're running through. And the environment is completely destructible. So think you're in these cavernous, huge caves with crazy aliens and strange resources and luminescent mushrooms. And you and your pal are just looking for whatever it is the objective of the game. And quite quickly, as you were playing this game, you get lost. And you can get really fucking lost. And there was a number of times we played this where not only were we so lost, we struggled to find each other, we struggled to find the objectives of what we were trying to do, and not in a way where we were becoming frustrated about it, apart from that one mission where we really got lost.
There was one mission that took us like 40 minutes because we were looking for one little mushroom somewhere, and we kind of been through places that we'd already been. And I think when you say that we were lost, like you do, it's procedurally generated, but you have a map on a radar. But we kept kind of doing circles, didn't we? And then being like, oh wait, I've already been here. And I think it actually played into the game. Like after a while, we kind of understood that it was a bit like, we actually need to drop beacons. We need to work through the level kind of in order, if you will, as to like really kind of look at a canyon and be like, what is in here? What can we mine? What's of use to us before we move on? Like you can't just kind of push into somewhere and separate from each other and do your own thing.
Yeah, you couldn't brute force the levels.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
It didn't really work like that. And as you said, I'm on the fence as to whether or not that's a downfall, because it kind of forced you into that co-op teamwork element of gaming that we kind of love, to be fair.
I mean, it harkens back to talking about Apex, where you're forced to communicate tactically. We were communicating. Why are we here? How do we get out of this situation? Have we been here? And then using our skills effectively. Once we played this game longer, looking back on that mission, there was 100% a cave opening at the top of a cavern. We were looking at the bottom all the time because you're mining, you're going down and down and down. Eventually, these missions actually start having random openings at sort of, 50 feet in the air that you need to shoot a zip line to fucking get up to.
Yeah, and coming back to the using each other's abilities very tactically, like as Guy said, it's a very objective-based game. And some objectives had time constraints. Some objectives had damage that would be done to certain equipment if you couldn't get to it in time. Some had objectives where you had to kind of, take out like almost an additional piece of loot that flew in that was, again, randomly generated. Like it was a very changing environment where you had to be very, very adaptive.
You did. And yeah, you sort of would go through these mines and be constantly, what the fuck is that? You know, what is that giant spider count now coming at me out of the nowhere? Or, you know, why am I getting sucked up into the air by some random tentacle thing? You know, and you have to pivot really quickly. And there is fall damage as well, which as you're mining downwards is nothing more frustrating than falling into a huge cavernous area and just dying straight away. But yeah, so with the 4 classes, Scout, Engineer, Gunner, Driller, I was the gunner, so I'm running around with a minigun. You were the miner, driller, so you had sort of drills on your hands, and then I think like a shotgun or something. Flamethrower,
yeah,
which was pretty sick. And there was so many times we were playing that game where you would drill a hole to the next area, and waves of enemies come at you, and think they're kind of ant-looking creatures a lot of the time. And you'd be facing one way drilling into this cave. I'd be facing the other way with a minigun and shooting a minigun down a mine that we've just created, and the light flicking off the minigun as the bullets fly over your shoulder and you're ripping through these ants was really satisfying.
And there's you behind me going, dude,
I'm just
either drill faster or fucking turn around. And it's kind of...
It just was so much fun. Like, I'm just picturing like Terminator 2, cigar coming out one side of this dwarf's mouth as you're just rinsing blood through these people. And you'd throw like cluster grenades down there or like a, Molotov and just watch it explode at the other end of the cave and light it up. It was so much fun.
And like, as a gamer, I want to... Deep inside me, I want to turn around and help you do the blasting, but just being the driller kind of class in that game, I knew that the best way I can contribute to this mission was just to keep drilling. And it was so funny. You started to level up a lot quicker than me in this game because you were just plowing fucking aliens coming down tunnels, and I was just drilling us upwards towards like a fucking escape pod.
It had that kind of Left 4 Dead back to back, we're 2 guys against an onslaught of aliens kind of moment that was just it scratches an itch. It scratches a really great itch. So there was one point in the game where we were thinking we wanted to get more XP quicker, because we wanted to get to sort of the next forge or some larger raid kind of level.
You essentially prestige in this game.
Yes, that's right.
So it actually is a bit of a grind to prestige.
It is grindy.
It reminded me a lot of Call of Duty way back in the day.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they had like up to prestige 10 and you'd have to get to level 70? Like that was very much the grind in this game, I think, in terms of the hours that you needed to put in to get to that prestige level. But again, I'm on the fence as to whether or not that's a negative or a positive, because it gives you something to consistently work towards.
Yeah, so when done well, it encourages you to keep playing and sort of go, I was so close to that next level up. Like, I'll play a little bit longer. That kind of keeps you in the formulaic thing of it. But if it becomes too grindy or, pay X dollars to jump levels or shit like that, it does become a bit, Like, I think... Helldivers 2 was very similar to that kind of thing where you achieve new skills, new weapons, new cosmetics as you're playing through this. And we did enjoy, both of us, I guess, tinkering with our dwarves and leveling them up and making them better. But we did reach a point where both of us were quite higher level now, and we were creaming through levels at quite a rate. And we said to ourselves, let's crank it up. Let's crank it up. And you were like, I'm going all the way to the top. And I was like, that's aggressive. Go one level up. Why would you put it to ultra hard if we're just trying to get a little bit more XP? But you were like, we're doing it. And I was like, all right, here we go.
I think we actually walked away from that mission with our tail between our legs as well.
No, we won it. We won the first one.
There
we did. We absolutely... It was intense. It was hectic. I had a lot of fun in that mission because it was then like... It became challenging again.
Well, because that's why I liked it. Like, imagine you're playing your favorite BR, whatever it is, or your favorite co-op game, and you have those moments when you're like in a bit of trouble, and you kind of have to use everything available to you. Like, I remember we had this battle. We're both jumping around. We're throwing grenades. I'm calling in like a supply drop because we're low on health. We're low on bullets. Like, you're dropping in your different little things that you had. Like, it was very much like use everything. And that's why I like sometimes cranking it up. Yeah. And I said this in a previous episode when it came to Doom Eternal. You were like, why play that on ultra hard? Like, why? It sounds painful. It's like, because I actually enjoy really having to use everything
effectively
in your arsenal. Yeah.
It's like learning a piece of music. You have to use the right things at the right time. And this game does do it well in the sense of your ammo is not infinite. You have to call down drop pods to re-up your ammunition. If there's a wave hitting you whilst you run out of ammo, you're fucked. So you have to be quite intelligent about when you call the drop ships down. And it's got that wonderful element of the sort of Subnautica or like Astroneer type, where when you call that drop pod down and you're so fucking deep, and this drop pod is at the start of the level or all the way in the other end, and you're timed to get there, and the waves of enemies are coming in and you're getting hit by these tentacles, the running to get there, if you take one wrong turn, you're fucked.
Yeah. Which is why we just started drilling directly to the drop pod and doing that.
There was so many times where you're like, I'm drilling there. And I was like, well, I'm running it. And then I'd get lost. And you'd be like, well, I'm at the drop ship. And I'd be like, well, I'm out of this fucking mission then.
And you can 100% leave them behind, by the way.
You totally
if you just jump in the thing, you're
gone.
See
you're
ya.
Gone.
But on that, it did... The one thing I'll say, because it's all been smiles up until this point in the review, the one thing I will say about DRG, Deep Rock Galactica, at this point was... It got a bit repetitive, grinding to that prestige.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you because it's a pro that quickly turns to a negative. Like any new game you start playing, when it's new, when it's interesting, it's enjoyable. But it hits a tipping point where you go, okay, there is a lot of different objectives, sub-objectives. The randomly generated maps keeps it a little bit fresh. But at a certain point you go, how many fucking times do I have to collect the same bloom flower as a sub-objective to get a few more little clicky points that it loses its thing? I think when we get to rating it, which I feel like we're probably not far off at this point, one of the categories we've got is, character development, story kind of thing, which there is none, really. Like, it's jump into a planet, loot it for resources, come back.
Yeah, and you're right, with the repetitiveness, like, I remember eventually we would be like, okay, what's this next mission? And we'd look at it and we'd be like, oh, it's a salvage mission. We've done this before. There's a meteor event. We've done that before. We know exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
So... yeah, like it kind of reminded me a little bit of Destiny at that point. You're doing it just to do it to get the XP. You're not actually really doing it at that point because it's a fresh new mission and a fresh new objective.
Yeah, and comparing it to the other major cooperative game that we played together, Apex. With Apex, you could not really have a chit chat whilst you're in game. In the loading screen, sure you could, in between games. But when you're in the game, you're talking about the game. Whereas in this mining one, there'd be moments where it's like, we're having a catch up, we're having a chit chat. Oh, there's a wave coming in. Let's, focus on that. So it was a lot more of an easier, palatable evening game. Shall we get to the rating?
And I'm happy for you to take the lead on this, and I'll kind of interject where I feel appropriate.
Yeah, for sure. You can correct me.
All right. Deep Rock Galactica. Storyline out of 10.
Galactica.
Well, what I say, it's just galactic, isn't it?
Just galactic.
What's Galactica again? That is something nerdy.
Like Gattaca? Okay, so storyline, storyline, like, how brutal do you go on a storyline where we've just explained the storyline is fly in, collect loot, come out? They introduce a rival mining competition at some, competitor at some point, but there's no real story.
There's no lore.
The lore is there, but you got to go to a computer thing in the game and read, the different alien types and sort of the various areas. So it's a non-event, So the storyline for me is like 4. How savage can you be? Like, the premise is fine, but then that's it. I would give it premise.
Look, I would give it a 6 because it was a fresh idea. There is some semblance of objective base that does contribute to the overall story. I think it really lacked on lore. There's really no character backgrounds or story to your individual characters that you can really get on board with.
Even in Left 4 Dead, the 4 characters had backstories of who they are. But maybe let's split the diff and go 5.
Okay, 5 it is. Feel and mechanics.
So, this is where it starts going higher up because the feel and mechanics, as I described, with the minigun, and you even had a couple of levels up. I think at one point you were using an ice kind of weapon. That was good. It felt fun, the feel and mechanics. So I'm going to put that at an 8.5.
Can I say something here? Which is a grievance for me as it's my platform.
Yeah, we're on a pod.
I do not like it when a game does not let me do button mapping.
Ooh, yes. You've mentioned this before about it. You've stopped playing entire games because you didn't like the mapping.
Yes, because like this game was so different from the usual layout of a shooter game. Whereas like when I would go through playing Apex and then would come back to DRG and have a mind together, it would take me a solid 10 minutes for my brain to remember what a grenade was, how to change my weapon out, to do a few of these other things, to ping things for you. And it was so different that it was a little bit of like, it did turn me off initially. It got a little bit frustrating. So as a gamer, I went, no worries. I'll just switch the button mapping around.
Couldn't do it. Yeah.
And there's been so many games that essentially go, no, fuck you. You play the game the way we've made it. And I've never understood that. Yeah. Make button mapping a thing, dude. Like the dexterity that I have on my Elite controller, which I'm actually very sad about, it's falling to pieces, but that's another issue. The kind of how my brain has kind of evolved to play any game on my Elite because of button mapping is super easy. It makes transitioning from different games as an evening gamer very, very easy. And DRG didn't allow me to do that. And I put that directly in the feel and mechanics category.
Fair. I mean, there is that many first-person shooters out there at the moment and has been for many, many, many years. Make us choose how we want to do it. If I want to put B as crouch or the fucking down thumb pad or whatever, let me do it because that's how I've learnt to play these games.
Yeah.
And I'm fully with you because there'd be times where we pick up that game and I'd be throwing flares when I wanted to throw grenades and you're like, fuck.
And that's why when you pick up a new shooter game, it's so intuitive because the developers know, don't fuck with that. Make this game easy to pick up and get on board with because people are going to know how to navigate the button system. They don't change too much because they know it's kind of a turn off. So you want to put, what did you say? You wanted to put an 8 or a 9 there.
Well, yeah.
I think the feel was very good. The design was fantastic. It felt great. The mechanics were good. But in terms of button mapping, that's an easy -1 mark from me.
You reckon a whole minus of 1? Okay. So I give it 8.5. You're going to pull it down to 7.5.
7.5 I think is fair. Challenge and entertainment.
So I mean, look, the challenge was often if you increase the difficulty, then it obviously increases the challenge. It was entertaining, but it did have a fall-off point where you go, I've played all of the different mission styles and all the sub-objectives. So the feeling, challenge and entertainment would put it at like a 7.
I would actually go higher than that. I was super entertained playing this with you in the co-op
Yeah, but there's
space.
a drop-off point where you go,
there is.
I've played it all now. Like unless we were going to hit that raid point and that really revolutionized the way it played, that, to be honest, the length of time it took to get to the different style of gameplay of what that raid forge or whatever they called it was, that took a while. And we're not even there yet. And I don't know if I want to keep playing to try and get there anymore.
Yeah, I would say it was a easy, solid 30 to 40 hours.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe more.
And I mean, each mine that we did would often take at least an hour each time.
How about a flat 7?
All right, flat 7, okay.
Character development and build.
Wow. Okay, so this is one of these classic ones where the character development brings it down because it's non-event, but the build part is grindy. The way you get different weapons, level up your armor suit, the tacticals, all the rest of it, increase it. So I'm going to give that a 7.5.
Yeah, I'll agree. The skill tree also didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, the skill tree was weird.
It almost made me anxious.
Yeah, because it forced you to go from the left to the right, and in a really weird progressive kind of system where you had to pick skills you didn't want.
Essentially you ended up just using skill points on things you didn't fucking need.
Exactly, and they never explained how to do it. I remember looking at that menu and taking a while to go, why can't I get this? And you realize it's the arrows in between them. It was a weird design, that one.
Loot and extras. Remember, this is our miscellaneous category. So any tidbits that were wow moments? Were you impressed by the loot? Were there any
the loot
snapshots?
And extras are I feel like that's almost a mini game back at the hub, or the trophy room, or the car, the hub world that you start in. I can't actually think of when you're on the mine what loot and extras. You don't pick up any real loot down there. There was the Christmas elf would be a loot extra. Yeah. So it's got to be 2. It's low.
You reckon it's 2 out of 10?
Because what else is there apart from the mini game? Apart from the mini game and the little seasonal things, and do you know what I mean? What else was there?
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to know what that spat out? Because of your 2 out of 10.
Okay, all right.
5.8.
I don't hate it.
I like our rating system because, as I said to you when we were doing our backlogs just before we jumped on to make this recording, I said to you that our review system gets rid of bias.
And when you said it to me, I agreed with you wholeheartedly, because there's been games that we've reviewed previously and we've said, I love this game, and you want to give it like a whole 10 because you loved it that much. When you start actually breaking it down to the parts of the game, it then changes the review naturally, or the rating of the game. You know, the fact that to isolate the loot and extras in a game can ruin out a game. You know, I mean, whether the game designers go, oh, it was by design, we were going to put in some additional loot and extras. You know, I don't know if that, I mean, we call it extras for a reason, but you're 100% right. It does remove the bias, and I love that about it.
And I think that's also a good representation of DRG as a whole game. It's good for a while. It's a good laugh between games. If you want to just have a chat with your mates and not worry about getting fisted from behind on your favorite FPS or BR.
What a picture.
And having grenades land in your lap and all that jazz. It's a great choice, but I think 5 out of 8, yeah. A little bit harsh, but again, they've made their bed there.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, well, that was DRG. Now we're going to do our little backlogs.
Yes, which, you know, our flashback episode of looking back at the games that we have already reviewed. But, you know, for those seasoned listeners, when we did those reviews and we looked at each other and was like, okay, what are you giving it out of 10? It was off the dome, 8. Whereas now we've pumped it back through our subcategories and it has changed the score. So what we're going to go back and do is one by one some of these games. So this is where the flashback comes in. Go back and sort of say it was this and it's now this and this is why.
So I'm just going to jump straight on. In episode 1, we covered off Hogwarts and Returnal. This is the new rating for Hogwarts. Storyline, 7 out of 10. Feel mechanics, 8.5 out of 10. Challenge and entertainment, 6.7. Character dev, 6.8. Loot and extras, 8. Comes in at 7.4. That's against an old score of 6.8. So that gets a little improvement there.
Do we want to criticize these as we go through them? Can we go back to Hogwarts on this?
Yeah, go on.
Why'd you give character dev and build a 6.8? I feel like didn't he have a good character development with the evil kid and the girl, you know, as the protagonist, and then you had some moral decisions at the end?
Yeah, but that's storyline.
I felt he as a character developed over the course of his semester at Hogwarts.
Also, mate, it's up to the rating.
Oh,
here.
okay, all right, it's all right.
I think 7.4. Because you know what it also was is there was no real build. Like you had your spells, but there was no real skill tree. They didn't
kind of pick the spells on your
like,
4 button map wheels. Okay, all right.
So 7.4 against the old rating of a 6.8. Returnal storyline 10. Wow.
Yeah. So at the outset of this, I was like, this removes bias. And when we did this, you were like storyline, and I was like 10, and you were like, wow. I explained the story to you in a bit more detail. You were like, okay, fair.
Yeah,
like,
I was. So, yeah, fair enough. Feel mechanics, 9.2. Challenge and entertainment, 9.9. So, this is a fucking top game.
Yep.
Character dev and build, 10. And loot and extras, 10. And you're right. I quizzed you on all of these 10s and then ended up agreeing with you.
And I remember the 9.2 film mechanics, you know, it was tight, it was quick, it was clean, it was perfect. It got minused a little bit on that because in the DLC, which is the Tower of Syphilis, I think it's called. I know.
The Tower of Syphilis.
I wonder if somebody thought about that. Very phallic. So in the tower, if you got really high up in this DLC, the frame rate dropped really hard on the PS5. It could not handle the sort of processing of how difficult that game was. So that minused it a little bit for me. The 10 for loot and extras was because of the parasites and the weapons you find. It really added to the game. So it was, you know, it deserves its title.
I love ya. But if we do double duplicate reviews
we're
going to be here.
We'll speed through some of the other ones. But
that upped it to a 9.8 out of 10 for Returnal against an old rating of 9.5. So that also slightly increased.
Yep.
Jedi Survivor. Storyline, 8. Feel the mechanics, 8. Challenge and entertainment, 8.5. Character development and build, 7.5. Loot and extras, 7. Came in at a 7.8 out of 10 against an old rating of 7.
Yeah. I remember feeling like I was pretty harsh on that game, so I think that now does it justice.
I think that's a good kind of representation of what I heard about it as well.
Yeah.
Lords of the Fallen. I was a huge fan of this game, but again, this removes bias. Storyline, 7.5. Bit so-so. Feel mechanics, 7.8. Challenge and entertainment, 9.5. Probably the biggest thing this game has going for it, on top of its character development and build, which got a 9, and on top of its loot and extras, because they did, in the loot and extra space, everything under the sun. So I gave that a 9 as well. Comes in at 8.56 with an old review of, or an old rating rather, of 8.3.
I'm liking that we're not far off these reviews that we did off the top of our dome. Yeah.
Well, you just...
let's wait for it. Okay.
Remnant 2. We both spoke about this because we both played it. We were huge fans, and this is one of the ones that went the other way. We changed a few of these. Storyline 8, feel 9, challenge entertainment 9.2, character development and build 9, loot and extras 9.5. Came in at 8.94 against an old rating of 8.7. Okay, I was wrong. It went up again. Baldur's Gate 3. Storyline 9. Feel mechanics 8. Challenge 7.5. Character development 10. Loot and extras 6. Came in at 8.1 against an old review of 8.3. So Baldur's Gate went down slightly.
Baldur's Gate.
What? How the fuck do you say it, bro?
Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate. Whatever, man. You say your R's weird. It's something I've realized since doing this podcast with you. You go, That's how you say your R's. And that's why I say Baldur's Gate.
I'm not a pirate. Keep going.
Outer Wilds. Let me do my scrolly here. So I'm scrolling through all these reviews. Outer Wilds. Storyline 10. Can't fault it. Amazing game. Feel mechanics 8. Left a little bit to be desired. Challenge and entertainment 9.5. I didn't put it down. Character development and build 9. Loot and extras 8.7. 9.04 against a 9.8. So that's what we're saying, is it removed that bias for me, because this is the best game I've ever played. But when punched through this very pragmatic system, it's come down to a 9.04.
Fair.
Helldivers. Do you want to do Helldivers, mate?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so storyline 7.5 because it was fairly non-existent. Feel and mechanics an 8 because it was hella fun. Challenge and entertainment, very entertaining, quite challenging, with the sort of friendly fire was on all the time. Character dev and build 6.5 because it's non-existent. Loot and extras wasn't much either, so 6.3. Overall score 7.46, and its old score was, Taylor,
8.9.
So it brought it down.
That one came down significantly, which I think, to be fair, I think when you're playing Helldivers and you just get off the box or whatever you play on and you come and do a podcast, you're like, oh my God, that game.
Yeah, but then maybe I was caught up in the hype.
Yeah, but then when you sit down and you actually go through it, you're like, actually, here's where it's at. I think around the 7.5 is pretty solid there.
Fair.
Last one, No Man's Sky. Now, this is something that I covered off. Here are the updates. Storyline, 9 out of 10. Feel and mechanics, 7.5. Challenge, 7. Character development and build, 7.5. And loot and extras, 10. They did loot and extras so fucking well in this game. It made me so excited to find new items, etc. 8.2 out of 10 against an old rating of 7.7. There you have it.
Nice. That is the flashback. I hope you all sort of kept up with us as we quickly cleaned up our previous reviews and put them through this matrix. And we now have sort of what is a leaderboard, which we will share, as we progressively go through this. And I'm sort of thinking like a Top Gear, celebrities who go on the drive track, as we update these and it shuffles the order, and we'll keep a running log is sort of what I'm imagining of this.
Yeah, I like that. Well, leading the way easily is Returnal.
Whoa, don't. Oh, we were going to go up. We got to keep suspense in this. I think everybody fucking knew it was going to be Returnal anyway. No, don't. Let's keep going.
I was about to stop the recording and Guy is hell-bent on keeping this one and done.
I think it's all right. I mean, everybody would have known it was going to be Returnal.
I mean, this is essentially the end of season 1 for the podcast.
Exactly.
Episode 11 is going to be season 2.
I was like, I wanted to do some drum roll and suspense.
I am 50% of this.
Okay, all right. Well, you're probably more 75. But anyway.
Returnal at 9.82 is leading the way, and I think it's well deserved.
I think it'll be hard to top, with such a high score. I think it is worthy of that spot.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get into questions from a hat, my friend.
Do we want to do the other two? The top 3? Let's quickly do top 3.
We're going to do top 3, okay.
Yeah.
Well, number 2, coming in at number 2 is, you ready?
Yeah.
Lies of P.
Hey.
The Souls-like that I covered.
Nice.
Not too long ago, actually. Fantastic game. If you haven't played it, what are you doing? And then at third is Control.
Hey,
The game last week that your mate shut all over and then backpedaled horrendously during this week. Yeah, there you go. There's the top 3 for season 1, everyone. Questions from a hat.
Questions from a hat. Yes, let's hit it. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? I'll go first. It is first game for an absolute gaming beginner.
Okay. Do you have an answer?
I mean, you got
to take a lot into consideration with a question like this.
You do have to take a lot into consideration because, one, it depends on the person who's asking me going, hey, my boyfriend, my partner has just bought a PS5, what's a game to start playing it on? And it depends on the person. If you're Misso, who provided us this question, you'd sort of say, okay, like Sims, Mario Kart, Mario World Party, like some of those ones, or Link, the Zelda ones.
I'm kind of thinking a game that came out not too long ago, which is called Stray.
Stray, that's a good one.
Because
Stray's
you know what it
good.
does? That's where you kind of play a cat. It immerses you in a very beautiful cinematic world. It's objective-based, but there's only one objective at a time.
Yes,
it allows you to work on your dexterity with analog and all that type of stuff.
And moving the camera around, because the any time you give your controller to somebody who's never played, the hardest thing is often the camera control, because the way the analog stick, it's like that right left brain or whatever it is, where you're like, okay, I move with the right and the camera's with the left, and you watch anybody and it's like, I remember you telling me about your partner doing Hogwarts, and it was like run up the stairs and the camera would be like flopping up and down,
and you kind of have like an aneurysm fucking watching.
Yeah, you give you a headache watching that.
That's when you figure out if you're an inverted player, if you like to play claw, like that's when you figure out your layout and your grip. So I think moving around the third person camera. So yeah, I'd say something like that.
Yeah.
Stray, Minecraft, can't go wrong.
I think another good one would be my brother and his missus have been playing Dragon Ball, fucking Diablo, top down. Any top down game, because you're not controlling the camera, you're just controlling the character to push them around, and that's how the camera scene changes. So any top down I think would be pretty good for a new beginner.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also other things that you said, like get someone a Switch. Like I feel like Nintendo Switch is the best console for a beginning gamer, because you can play things like Pokemon, you can play things like Super Smash, Zelda's on there, Hogwarts is on there, but it's got all those really old school 64 games, way back to the roots, the racing games, Mario Kart, things like that.
I'm just laughing at the concept of like your partner being like, yeah, I want to get into gaming, and it's like, here's Elden Ring.
Well, yeah. What would you do if you came back the next morning and they're just sitting there all sweaty and they've fucking completed it?
I love the idea of coming back and they beat the horseman out the front of the crypt or
they're
something.
Like, hey, there was this
weird
weird boss called Melania. I did her on the second go. Like, I don't know what that was all about.
That was really easy. Yeah.
You'd be like, all right, I quit. How about that? Fuck this. My question.
Yes.
Which game has the most toxic fan base? Great fucking question.
Toxic fan base.
Did you have one in mind when you wrote this question?
Oh, I mean, you got the classics of the Call of Duties, the Apex, the ones where it's like you turn your mic on and you say one thing and you get a pile on of like, and it's super racist, sexist, homophobic. It is the most like
awful,
belligerent sort of commentary.
Any multiplayer game that has game chat that you can type, it's not going to go well.
It never goes well.
I would encourage you to disable that.
I mean, hell, even playing Apex back in the day, if you guys weren't on and, I'd play and the two other guys are running mics, I'd mute my mic. There's no appetite I have to engage with a stranger over a fucking video game.
I just mute in the pre-game lobby straight away.
Yeah.
Bang.
But I mean, when we
care. When
we played Destiny back in the day and we did the raids, you had to be on mic for that.
Yeah.
And you had to tactically kind of work through it.
But I suppose you could be more selective about who you ran raids with back then.
I mean, there were so many times we played that and you and I'd be messaging each other going like, listen to this.
Fuck these guys, yeah.
Dickhead. Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm going to say, and it's a bit left field, I'm going to say the chess community.
What?
The online chess community is by far the most arrogant, toxic community I have ever been a part of. It is not one of support. It is just one of a hierarchy that I don't agree with. And people, I think chess is one of those games, right, where someone can make a move and you can sit there for so long just knowing that you're fucked. And you just sit there and you stew over and over and over again. But that would absolutely be my gold medal to the most toxic gaming community out there.
Is it like, as they know they're about to win, they're smack talking you? Like, you
win
idiot,
or lose, whatever it is.
Yeah, right. So what, if you lose, you get like touch grass kind of commentary, or like...
I had a guy the other day that I beat him. He rematched me, right? And I was playing on my lunch break at work, so I was eating during our rematch, right? And I just didn't see a checkmate. I just didn't see it. And before he asks me to chat, and he goes, "You are fucking trash. My biggest mistake in life was losing to you in this game," and then checkmated me and logged off. And I was just like, wow, bro.
Oh my God. I love the idea of like, you've just beaten him once. Like,
I know. Get over it, man.
Yeah, like, and then smack talk after losing when you're going to win. You're 1-1. You're drawing. Like, shut up.
Grow up. And it's by far. And that is not an unusual occurrence in chess.
I wasn't expecting that answer. That's an interesting answer. We have a competition that we have to announce.
It's more like a giveaway.
It is more like a giveaway. So
$100 to your preferred gaming platform to spend on whatever you want, whether it's skins, extras. You can probably buy a whole game with this. We're doing $100 to it.
I mean, hell, if you want to buy, a T-shirt with it, we don't give a shit. We're giving you $100.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to give it to you.
Yeah, what you spend it on is up to you. That's how the money works. But
here's how to enter. Follow and leave us a rating on your preferred podcast channel, and send us a screenshot to either info@theeveninggamer.com.au or direct message us on our Instagram, The Evening Gamer Podcast. So you need to follow on your respective podcast channel and leave a rating out of 5. Now, leave whatever rating you think we're worth. We're not one of those channels that's going to be like, hey, follow and leave a 5-star review. If you think we're a 1 out of 5, leave it. If you
I don't know if I want to give $100 to a 1 out of 5.
If you do leave a 1 out of 5, though, like, do a proper review. Don't just fucking troll
I mean, be
us.
honest, yeah.
But if you do leave a 1 out of 5, I would ask for a reason why, please. But that is how you enter. Follow on your respective podcast channel. Leave a out of 5-star rating. Screenshot and send it to us at either the info@theeveninggamer.com.au or inbox us on Instagram, The Evening Gamer Podcast. Don't worry if this has all gone over your head. I'll push it out in our channels. Keep an eye on it. We're going to draw that at the end of the month, so the 30th of April.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to read your ratings if you put them in there. If it's going to be guy needs to shut up and stop talking or fire out a house, which you so eloquently put on me last week, then so be it.
We will also reply to your email or your inbox telling you that you've been successful in kind of having an entry. This is not a scam. We're giving back $100 gift card. We promise.
This is not a
That's
scam.
How you enter.
This is not a scam, but we want your bank account details and your address and your DOB.
That's it. That's all there is to it. So that's almost an hour that we've done tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it is almost an hour, but it was the 10th episode. I think we packed a lot into it. I hope it was an interesting episode. And yeah, thanks for sticking with the journey, guys.
And as always, don't be an NPC.
Keep leveling up.
Thanks so much.